Howdy folks, I'm Foxy Foxglove Wildflowers, fantastically fooling frantic freckled frogs.
I'm Amber.
And here are more fantastic freckled frogs for us to fool, and we're doing it because we can. So let's get started on that. Let's hop to it. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Not Driving My Friends to the Lake After They Refuse to Chip in for Gas? It's just how things have worked out in my group of friends for the past few years. I've almost always been the one driving everyone around, to barbecues, to summer cottages, on road trips out of town, and so on. I hardly drink, plus I'm the only one with a car, so just sort of became the norm that whenever we need to go somewhere, everyone looked to me. It didn't really bother me before. I had a decent stable job, I had money, and gas wasn't really an issue. Sometimes someone would transfer me the money later. Sometimes they would forget altogether. But I didn't really keep track. A couple of months ago, I got laid off. Now I'm working somewhere else, but the pay was way lower, and money has become really tight. After paying rent and bills, I have very little left over until payday, and I just couldn't afford a full tank of gas. I told my friends about this ahead of time without making a big deal out of it. Recently, they suggested going on an overnight trip to the lake, about 6 or 7 of us. A grill, meat, tents, the whole shebang. And right away, they started discussing what time I would pick them up. The rest either didn't have a car or a driver's license, or they planned to drink and didn't want to stay sober. I calmly said that I could give them a ride, but only if everyone chipped in for gas up front, because I simply didn't have enough money to even fill up properly. Everyone agreed. Well, the day before the trip, I messaged a group chat to remind them that I needed money right away. Otherwise, I just wouldn't even be able to leave. In response, the usual "don't worry about it, we'll pay you back later, we wouldn't let you down" started up. I wrote again that I wasn't going anywhere without the money. No one responded seriously, except for a couple of jokes, so I figured that they had found another option. In the end, I just didn't go anywhere that morning. Then everyone started freaking out. They wrote to me that I had ruined their weekend because they had already bought the food and were counting on me. Someone even said that I had become greedy and money grubbing after getting fired. But I really don't understand what I was supposed to do. I literally didn't even have enough money to fill up my car. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk. And I think you're learning that your friends are unfortunately not very good friends. Oh, you've become greedy and money grubbing after you got laid off. Or you need money to live and survive and you're not willing to go into debt for their weekend plans.
Yeah, I mean, it just sounds like OP couldn't afford it. OP tried to make it very clear that they couldn't afford it, but the friends refused to, help OP out here.
Well, and that's it. Like OP said from the get-go, I can't do this unless you pay me up front.
Yeah.
And the friends were they were counting on OP just not doing anything and just caving and paying for everything.
Yeah. And I mean, I certainly understand their frustration here with OP not coming and getting them, but OP said, I can't go and get you unless you give me gas money. That's not an option.
Right. They planned this, even though, OP had said, I can't do this unless, these are my conditions.
Mm-hmm.
They refused to meet them, and now they're shocked Pikachu face when the plans fell through.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Not Letting My Family Make My Niece Play Piano a Second Time? My niece is 12 and she recently started taking piano lessons. She is very shy and doesn't like it when everyone is watching her. At a family dinner at my mom's house, she sat next to me and quietly said that she had promised Grandma that she would play a song, but she was scared. I told her that she could play it just once and wouldn't have to do it again. After dinner, she sat down at the piano in the living room and played. It wasn't perfect, she lost her pace a couple of times, but she finished successfully. Grandma almost cried, and she said that it was the best gift that she had received that day. The problem was that several adults were in the kitchen at that moment. Someone was bringing out the cake, someone was helping with the plates, and someone was just chatting. When they came back and realized that they had missed it, they asked her to play it again. My niece immediately tensed up. She quietly said she had already played it. Then her mom asked her to play it once again, and I understand that she was proud of her daughter and didn't mean any harm. But then someone added that she shouldn't be so dramatic because it's only 2 minutes. It felt like I had to intervene and highlighted that she said no, already played it, and it was on them that they had missed it though they had heard the music coming from the living room. All got quiet, and my sister said that I should mind my own business. I replied that I wasn't trying to be her mom, just that she had already given an answer. While we were arguing, my niece got up and went to help her grandmother with the plates. Later, my sister said that I had made her look like a bad mother and taught her daughter to be rude to the family when they are trying to support her. I'm not sure if I was really in the right here, but why was the small gift for Grandma turned into a group performance for adults who had missed out on it by themselves? Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk. I think it's very important that the niece be given her agency. She had promised Grandma would play for her. She had not promised everyone at the gathering she was going to play for them. The other people at the gathering could have chosen to come in and listen to her play. They chose instead to do other things and, then came to pester her afterward. They were not entitled to a performance from her, and I think it's very important to teach young girls especially that it is okay to say no.
Well, I think that that's really the important part here, is that oftentimes girls are taught to put other people's comforts above their own, or other people's desires above their own, right? Above their own comfort. And I think that it's important that OP stood up for her and said, hey, you guys missed out on this. She already had her performance. I mean, it wasn't even like they couldn't hear the piano, right? So, I mean, I understand their disappointment, but sometimes you miss out on things, right? And I guess maybe somebody should have recorded it, and then so that way they could have heard it again. But again, this was the present, and I mean, the kid is shy. She shouldn't be forced to do something if she doesn't want to do it.
Yeah, well, in acting, the way the sister, was the one who made herself look like a bad mom by being a bad mom. She was undermining her child's agency so that she could show off, because this is a reflection on her as a parent. Heaven forbid my kid be shy and not want to perform for everyone.
Yeah, and while sometimes, kids do need to be pushed outside of their comfort zone a little bit here and there, you really have to know when to do that, and, have conversations with the kids too, and kind of explain things, right?
Yeah, well, and I mean, I think performing for Grandma was the stepping outside her comfort zone. She had expressed she was uncomfortable, but she made this commitment and she went through with it, and she should have been applauded for that.
Oh yeah, instead of exactly. I think that that's really important to state here. She, did go outside of her comfort zone and do something, and people are acting like they're entitled to more of that, right?
So instead of having this be like a really positive experience for her, they completely soured it and ruined it, and they made it all about me, me, me.
But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Having a Gaming PC with Lights? I have a gaming PC in my office with a Liam Lee case that has 2 light-up fans in the front. I was outside in the evening with my kids, and my neighbor was walking his dog. He inquired about the lights that he had seen from my window, and I did not notice that I could see the glow of the lights from the road. My office is on the 2nd story, and there are no street lights. I said that it was my PC and that it had some lights. He replied that it gave the wrong impression in the neighborhood. So now, whenever I'm gaming at night, I'm wondering who's looking through my window at me. Lol. Is he being ridiculous, or does being able to see glowing lights from a house give the wrong impression? All right, folks, what do you think?
I have no idea what impression that would be giving, other than you got something in your house that lights up. Like OP was thinking, why is someone peering into their windows to see their glowing PC?
Well, that's just it. I think this neighbor needs to find a better hobby and, not talk to their neighbors like this. What impression? Are they insinuating that OP is, using illicit substances? Are they insinuating that OP is engaging in other activities? I don't even know here, right? I think that the neighbor just needs to mind their own business, though, because it's just kind of ridiculous that they're butting into OP's business.
My keyboard has rainbow, you can't see it from the window though, but if you could, OP's neighbor would be scandalized because my keyboard is rainbows and I love it.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Taking Back the Stuff That I Used to Turn a Storage Closet into a Quiet Room at Work? My office is an open plan and constantly loud, So a few months ago, I asked my manager if I could clean out an unused storage room and turn it into a quiet workplace. He said yes, as long as it didn't cost the company anything. I spent a couple of weekends clearing it out, painting it up, and adding some of my own stuff like a rug, lamp, and spare monitor. I also made a booking calendar so anyone could reserve it for calls or focused work. I usually reserve it from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. because that's when I do detailed client work. The rest of the day, it's open unless someone else books it. Recently, a coworker started saying that I was acting like I owned the room. Then, one morning, I came in and found someone had deleted my booking and taken the room because they decided that there should be a rotation system. I said deleting someone else's reservation was rude, and another coworker told me that I was being territorial over company property. So after work, I took home the things that I personally brought in. Now the room is basically an empty echo chamber again, and people are annoyed with me because it doesn't feel usable anymore. My manager said that he understands why I'm upset, but thinks that taking my stuff back was making the situation worse. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, that is your personal property, not company property. The people are entitled to use the room. End of story. Like, they are not entitled to use your personal possessions you use to decorate it. If they want to go all in and decorate it themselves, they're welcome to. But I think deleting someone's booking is not good etiquette. There could have been conversations about room usage, but instead of like having mature adult conversations, they're like, nah, I'm just deleting OP's booking and taking this for myself.
Yeah, I mean, if they had something important to do from 8 to 10, they might have approached OP and been like, hey, I know that you're, booked this office for 8 to 10, but I was wondering if you could, give it up to me for this particular day. And OP may have very well been fine with doing that, right?
I think it's so important for OP to reiterate to the coworkers that they have not done anything to the room. Like, the room is still available for anyone to use. All they have done is taken their personal effects.
Yeah.
And that their coworkers are not entitled to their personal effects.
But I do actually think that there is something worse or even more sinister with the situation, that the floor is so bad and so chaotic that people are fighting over a storage room.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't a healthy work environment.
No.
And it might be better for OP to leave and find a better work environment, because they're fighting for scraps here, right? And that is not a good situation.
Yeah, well, I don't know why the company doesn't rethink this open floor plan, because that doesn't work for everyone. Like, I don't know who ever thought that like having everyone accessible all the time was the way to go. Like, a lot of people, one, have private conversations they need to be have. Two, have sensory processing issues. Three, are introverts and don't want to hear Ted from accounting yapping all day. Like, there are so many reasons why people need their privacy.
Well, and I would say that if this place doesn't have cubicles at the very least, that they should invest in some cubicles, because I think like that makes it very difficult for people, and the sound carries a lot. And I think, the cubicle type of space is just about as good as a quote unquote open floor plan. So I would argue that that they might want to invest in some cubicles. It probably would improve everyone's life experience to some degree. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I the Jerk? Neighborhood Kid with Poor Boundaries. We have a kid in our neighborhood who is the same grade as my 9-year-old daughter. He started coming around sometimes, and it was totally fine. He's a little unsure of social norms because he was homeschooled up until last year. Absolutely no shade at homeschooled families. You're all champions. I like him, and he listens to me when he's here with my kids. But he just shows up a lot, and his unannounced or invited visits have gotten more and more concerning. I have texted his mom and asked her to ask or check in with us before just letting him pop by. We work from home and have 4 very vocal dogs and are all neurodivergent. So unexpected company is not our favorite. She did it once, maybe twice. Now he rides his bike in circles around the block and my house. He hides in my bushes to look in our windows. He follows my husband and my kids to and from school on their bikes and tries to race my kids. This morning, they ran a stop sign and almost crashed. If we are running late, he is waiting. My daughter came to me and said that she thinks she might have a crush, so my discomfort with his behavior is growing by the day. My kids are being stalked. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, you're not the jerk. It is very reasonable to want like the parent to give you notice and ask before. Like that's common courtesy. The fact that he's hiding in your bushes, like I would have a serious conversation with the mom and say like if you don't stop your kid from this, I'm going to have to escalate this.
Like, kids don't necessarily know better than to look in through windows or hide in bushes. They might think that they're being funny or something like that. So I think that it's worth having a conversation with the kid to explain why this is inappropriate, because kids are kids. They don't know things until they are taught, right? And so if they haven't ever been taught that, hey, if you hide in bushes, then you could get hurt because somebody could think that you are a bad person, or you could, make people uncomfortable because they might think that you're being creepy or something like that. And the kid's going to get the idea and be like, oh, I didn't mean to, do that, right? And looking in through windows, that is one of those things where, you learn what a peeping Tom is, for instance, at a pretty young age. And you say, oh, you don't look in through people's windows because it makes people uncomfortable, right? And so I think that the kid just needs to have a good talking to and have some boundaries. The parent needs to really start enforcing when this whole asking before coming over type of thing. Now, there are a lot of people who live with the idea that you can just pop over to other people's houses, and that was more and more common in the past. Nowadays it's more common to call before coming over, and I think it was more common in the past because people didn't always have telephones, or people didn't always have a phone on them, so just popping by someone's house wasn't that big of a deal. But now that everyone kind of is connected all the time, is it really that hard to just make a phone call and say, hey, can my kid come over, right?
Yeah, well, and I mean, I think too, like, because like as a kid, I had friends who like we were constantly coming and going from
Mm-hmm.
each other's homes, but it was an understood and agreed upon thing. It
Mm-hmm.
was an unwritten rule that we could just kind of come and go as we went. And I think if someone says, "Hey, you need to ask first," then your immediate response should be like, "Oh, Johnny, we have to ask before we go to anyone's house today."
Exactly, exactly. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
Who is the coolest doctor at the hospital?
Dr. Freeze from Batman, who is coming and basically freezing the whole hospital, putting them
The
on ice.
the hip doctor.
The hip doctor. Oh, no, 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 I refuse that punchline. And I have Mega Mint. And folks, today is a very special day. It's Hide in the Bushes Day, so make sure to go hide in the bushes.
Or don't.
Let me know how that works out for you.
Remember, this is Brian's bad advice. If you get into legal trouble, we are not liable.
All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy, wonderful Wednesday, Hump Day, Friday, Junior's Eve. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it a haiku for Haiku Wednesday.
Autonomy is just as important for kids as it is for you.
I like that. But thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.